Welcome everyone to TMoLR Texas Extra. This is just a little bit of a program to kind of give you a preview of what's coming up with the channel and maybe give you a little insight as to who I am a little bit more and maybe get to know me just a little bit better. So for some strange reason this morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock. It being a Saturday, typically you try to sleep in a little bit, and that just was not in the cards for me today, unfortunately. But went ahead and did my normal routine, couple cups of coffee, sat outside. It's been a little bit chilly today. It's going to be weird because by Wednesday next week, it's going to be up in the 80s. I don't think it got out of the 40s today here in Southeast Texas, which is relatively cold for this area. But I was able to go into Sugarland and go to Half Price Books. And I did that in the hopes that maybe I would find one or two books that could help me out. And I had done a little bit of research, and they did have a copy of the Texian Iliad, which I have been looking for a while because it's pretty much out of print. But I walked out of Half Price Books with 4 hopefully really amazing books. I know one of them is the Texian Iliad, but I didn't expect to walk out of there with 4 books. But one of the books that I walked out of there with is a book called Women in Texas. And I think it's high time that I started showing some love to the ladies that really did blaze a trail in history. And it's not just the ones that are far back in history, like your Jane Longs and your Sophie Herzogs and things of that nature. We're talking like Barbara Jordan, and we're talking about Ann Richards. And a lot of these women are in this book, and this is going to be a book that I am very excited about getting into and sharing this information with all of you. So if you get a chance, if there's a Half Price Books near you, check and see if this book is there. This is going to be an amazing read, I can already tell, and can't wait to get into this one. This is another book right here that I thought I would really never be able to find. And it is The Raven, and it is the biography of Mr. Sam Houston. And this is another book that I'm really, really aching to get into, and this should be a very good read as well. And as you can tell, my growing stack of books over here, I'm going to be reading quite a bit, which I really have no problem with. They're really... I think reading is a bit of a lost art, especially in this day and time. The reason I did go to Half Price Books was to get the Texian Iliad. And luckily, I found one in very good condition. I was afraid I was going to go there and it would just be beat to hell and pages torn and things like that. But this is a really well-maintained book here, and I have listened to the audio version on Audible, and I think what I'm going to do again is I was so just enamored with the reading of the book from the audio book that I'm gonna listen to it again, but follow along in the book. And there are some illustrations and things in here that the author, the reader was conveying, and it'll be nice to kind of see what he was talking about with that. And the last book that I found, and some of y'all may just think I'm a little bit weird, and you're not wrong, but there's one here called Texas Disasters, and some of you are probably sitting there going, why are you reading about Texas disasters? Well, a lot of the disasters that are in this book deal with tornadoes, hurricanes, things like that. And any of you that know me personally know that I I usually call it a morbid fascination with severe weather. I'm the guy that if I'm able and there's a severe storm, guess who's going to get in his car and chase it? Me. I used to drive around in a like a really small hatchback car. I can't even remember what it was, but I put a CB radio in it with a little rubber magnet mount antenna on top of it. The funny thing is, it looked like an overgrown RC car, but if there were storms in the area, my rear end was in the car trying to chase it down, see if I could report anything. Yeah, I know I'm weird, but one other thing that this made me think about is we are coming up here in America. We're coming up on what is traditionally known as tornado season. And usually that starts in March and can go all the way through maybe September, October. And it's usually most active in latter March, April, and May. And that's when the dying throes of winter, you're still getting those frigid temperatures trying to come down. And then you had that nice, warm, moist air coming off the Gulf. And for some reason, they like to converge in what is known as Tornado Alley. And I lived in Tornado Alley in a couple of different spots, Clyde, Texas being one of them, Bayard, just about 5 miles up the road from Clyde. And then I also was stationed at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls. And one of the chapters in this book here is the 1979 Terrible Tuesday Red River tornado outbreak. And I can remember hearing stories about that particular day. And I've already started reading up on that. And that also brings me to another point here is I really I can only speak about the weather forecasters or weathermen, meteorologists that are associated with the news organizations, ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, that report the weather at the 5, 6, and 10 or 9 o'clock if you're Fox, the weather reports. And if there's something severe, excuse me, it seems like that information that they give you in those weather reports a lot of times is sensationalized. It is blown out of proportion. A lot of times there's a lot of inaccurate reporting, and I'm not saying that the information is bad or anything like that. I mean, they get the same information that the rest of us pretty much have access to, but I just feel like a lot of the weather reports, like the rest of the news, is sensationalized, and there's agendas and narratives and things like that go along with it. But one source that I have found online is a gentleman named Mark, and he runs a YouTube channel called WeatherMan Plus. And what's great about Mark and his program is that he gives you the information that you need, and it's not just localized to one area. It's the whole United States, or the continental United States. And sometimes he'll even go up to Alaska and talk about what's going on in Alaska. But he does not sensationalize any of his content. He actually breaks down the models and gives his 2 cents, gives his opinions on things when it comes to weather-related information. And from my experience watching WeatherMan Plus, and I've been watching him probably a little over a year now, is that he is definitely more spot on than most of the weather forecasters that you find on your local television stations, your local weather reports. He looks at different models, and he just breaks it down where you can actually understand what he's telling you, and you can actually go and look the information up yourself. So if you want to get away from the sensationalized weather reports, go check out Mark at WeatherMan Plus, and I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description of this video. So after I got done with half price books, and I also got a couple of bookmarks there, and another little tidbit about me is I'm a big fan of the Golden Girls. I love that show. It's one of my all-time favorite television series. I love watching it even today. I remember watching it with my grandmother, and maybe that's part of it. She was a big fan of the Golden Girls, and we would sit and watch it together back in the day. But I still love that program, and every time I get a chance to watch it, I do. And I got a bookmark that is the Golden Girls. So that was a cool find, along with these amazing books that we just went over. So today was a productive day. But after half price books, I went to the Rosenberg Railroad Museum, and as you can see here on my hat, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of the things that I saw there. Just maybe a quick little 30-second snippet that we're going to be featuring on the Wednesday regular TMoLR Texas episode. And this is basically due to a Reddit request in my subreddit, which is TMoLR Texas. And you can see it there at the bottom of the screen. If you have a request, I'm going to do my best to fulfill that request as to the best of my ability. And the railroad history was something that I found intriguing. And if you do get the chance, if you're in Brazoria County, Waller County, Harris County, Galveston, anywhere around the Fort Bend County area, and you have not taken the time to go to Rosenberg, couple of things. The Railroad Museum is really, really amazing. $10 admittance fee. There's a guided tour with that fee. There's I learned so much about trains today. It is amazing. And Nick, the young man that was taking us on our guided tour, dude, I know how hard public speaking is, especially when you're in front of people that you don't know from Adam. And I have to say that he did a phenomenal job. He had a booming voice, so he was definitely speaking from the diaphragm while he was giving his presentation. But there's a lot of really cool information, a lot of cool exhibits that they have there at the Rosenberg Railroad Museum. And they got a lot of nice little gift shop there and everything like that. And it's very, very, very kid friendly. And today was just a productive day. And I had a lot of fun, learned a whole lot of information. So I'm going to go ahead and pause just for a second and show you about a 30-second clip of some of the things that I saw there today. And then we'll come back and wrap up the program.
Here is Lionel. Lionel was very popular model railroad in the 40s, 80s, and still popular today. Now, a little story about Lionel. There was a man named Joshua Lionel. He was walking past a novelty toy shop, and at one point in time, he saw a model train running in the bay window. He decided he wanted to build one of his own, and he did. He decided to sell it off, and well, people kept wanting more and more until the man had himself a business. And rumor has it, you can have a Lionel train about 90 years old, you place it here on these rails, these trains will start right up. And we found that rumor out to be true.
That's a quick preview of some of what you'll see on Wednesday's regular episode. I'm really excited about going through the footage and doing the voiceovers, doing all the post-production stuff. It's going to be really fun, really educational, and I think it's a great way to open the door to railway history in the state of Texas. And I don't think I could have picked a better place to start than here in Fort Bend County. I believe this is pretty much where it started, and I could be wrong, but that's the claim that I saw today at the Railway Museum. So very productive day, very excited, very pumped up. And I hope that you will take the time on Wednesday to check that out. Also, remember you can always follow me on Facebook at TMoLR Texas. And again, I have the subreddit on the Reddit website, TMoLR _Texas. Come out there, join me on there. Let's discuss, show me, or give me ideas. If you have input about anything that you've seen on the channel, things that maybe change, things to make it a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more educational, whatever it may be, as long as you try to keep your comments constructive. And but you can say whatever you want. I will not get offended because I choose not to be offended. So it's just nice if you just try to keep the comments constructive. And I look forward to interacting with each and every one of you. And one last thing before we wrap up this program. The last episode that came out, and I must apologize, that came out really late in the day on Wednesday that week. This past week has been kind of hellish on me physically and mentally, but I got it out, thank goodness. And the subject being Texas secession, and I gave my 2 cents on it. And I would like to know what your thoughts are on it. Is it something that if the law is changed, can we do? Or I think the better question is, should Texas secede? And I would love to have sound bites or recordings or anything like that. And I actually would like to have some guests on, maybe through a Zoom call or a Skype call, something like that. I'm open to all sorts of ways to interact with each and every one of you. So we'll be coming back to the Texas secession subject, hopefully maybe in 2 weeks to a month. I kind of want to see if the sentiment around Texas secession kind of dies down, or if it remains the same, if it gains some momentum, things of that nature. I don't want to harp on it too terribly much. Especially right now in these very trying times that we're having, not only here in the state of Texas, but all of the United States. So once again, thanks everyone for taking time to watch these programs. Remember, we're on Rumble too. So if you feel more comfortable going to Rumble and watching the programming there on Rumble, make sure you go over there and follow TMoLR Texas. If you're a YouTube fan, we're slowly growing. Go ahead and become a subscriber over there at YouTube as well. Everyone have a great rest of your weekend. We don't have any more football, unfortunately. I believe the new XFL USFL merger football league will be starting here fairly soon, so that might tide us over until the start of the next NFL season. But I'm not a baseball fan. I don't watch basketball. I'm football pretty much. I'd say 99%, with 1% being soccer. Yes, I played soccer and I enjoy watching soccer. So not a lot of sports coming up for me. So hopefully on the weekends I'll have a lot more time to go ahead and provide more content for TMoLR Texas. But until next time, thanks again for watching, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday.